Welcome back to Public Privacy Episode 2.
Yo, what's up, everybody?
Thank you to all the viewers and the listeners that tuned in and either heard us on Spotify Podcast and Apple Podcast, and the ones that saw us on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we for sure appreciate all the support that we got from everybody, all the feedback. We didn't expect to receive as much love and views on YouTube like we did. We expected, well, I personally expected less. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, we
appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we for sure appreciate it. We got about 100 and something views in the first 24 hours, and it was crazy. It was like, wow, there's really a lot of people out there that were waiting for the first episode and wanted it to drop. And
It was worth the wait. I hope it was worth the wait.
yeah, we promise to stay as consistent as possible and bring you guys as much content as we can. Like I said, the feedback that we got was super helpful. One of those being one of the camera angles was kind of off-ish.
It was looking funky.
Yeah, it was looking kind of funky. It was probably out of focus. The lighting was kind of off. It looked purplish. So I made some tweaks to the camera. So hopefully, and this one it's fixed. If it's not, then I'll just have to figure out what's wrong with it.
And this is where we appreciate we appreciate comments and constructive criticism, because if we wouldn't have got that comment, I don't know if we would have still overlooked it or we wouldn't have noticed, but it helped us. So it's always good to get feedback from you guys. We appreciate it.
No, yeah, for sure. So how did you feel about the first one? How do you think it went for the most part?
Obviously I had the mindset that I wanted to look a certain way, sound a certain way, and that's where I lost kind of the whole purpose that I wanted to go for the podcast, and that was for us to be original, But I felt that I was controlling, and I could have enjoyed it a lot more if I had stopped overthinking, but I caught myself, and I apologize for being, controlling, and I didn't mean to, but it's just when you get into that, that mindset that you need to get it needs to look a certain way, it needs to sound a certain way. And that's just what happened.
It's cool. No worries. And guys, that comes from some of the feedback that we got. The friends and family were like, bro, that doesn't sound like you. You're so quiet. You're not loud enough. Yeah. Why are you so timid? And so that's kind of where that's coming from. But it's all good now. Episode 2, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a little bit longer than the first one, so hopefully we can keep you guys a little bit more in tune. And yeah, you want to go ahead and let them know what that topic's gonna be about?
So to get into today's topic conversation, we're gonna be talking about kind of our upbringings and how we have similarities, and how it's we notice that it's our culture. I'm not saying for every Hispanic out there, because we saw similarities, and we have talked to people that are Hispanic and that they relate to our upbringings, but obviously not everyone is raised the same, so we don't want to speak for everyone, but just personal, and if people can relate, if our viewers or listeners can relate, that's cool. But yeah, let's talk about a little bit of what we experienced growing up.
Yeah, I feel like for the most part it was the same, but again, you were the woman and I was the guy, so
we're gonna give those perspectives.
Yeah, we'll be giving perspectives on how my dad treated me differently compared to how her dad treated her because she was a woman, and so on and so forth. What are some of the different things that you'd want to talk about?
Obviously chores, how chores were a big thing of how the woman should be taught to cook, clean, how to just maintain a household, and you guys are usually taught to work and to provide. That's the main thing you guys have to worry about, is that when you have a family, you got to be.
Yeah, we were the ones that had to provide and go to work and bring the money in, and the woman was the one that stayed home, did the dishes, cleaned, took care of the kids and things like that. And yeah, that's how, for the most part, how it was in my household. My dad went to work, came home, expected a home cooked meal, and just did it all over again. And yeah, it's that's kind of how it was. And being raised like that, that's how he taught me. Oh, you're when you grow up, like you gotta get a job, and you're gonna provide for your significant other, and take care of your family. And I didn't think it was weird, but it was just, I think back at it now, like it's different now, like it's not the same. So yeah, how was it with you, since you were obviously the woman, two brothers? How was it with you and your mom and your dad? How?
I feel like a lot of girls can relate, and when the like we get taught at an early age, kind of like the whole home training thing of cooking, cleaning, helping your mom out, or if you go to like your aunt's house or somebody's house that you have to be, attentive, and oh, let me help you either wash the dishes or serve. You have to be attentive to the men, you know? And it was, I mean, it was not, I didn't see it negative. I just obviously I didn't think it was fair. But I mean, it was nothing like not in a bad way. It was just that I just, with the years, I started seeing that now, modern times, it's changing. And now you see men staying at home, taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning, and the woman is the one that's providing. So now that I'm seeing that, I'm just like, oh wow, like I would have never thought that was how it's gonna be nowadays. But I think it's like a good, evolution of
And
traditions.
do you think it's that way now, or people are doing that because they want to change the norm, or they want to stand out,
Yeah,
or
it's just breaking that stereotypical, well, the man's gonna just work and he doesn't have to come home and cook or clean anything. And it's just to kind of, yeah, breaking the norm of that. It's not just the woman's job, to clean the house, to cook, to take care of the kids. It's, 50-50. I mean, it took two people to make a child, the man and
yeah,
the woman, or whatever the case may be. And it's just to be fair.
yeah,
At the end of the day, I feel like that's why
yeah.
people.
In my household growing up, I felt like I felt like I did my part. Like I did. My mom would give me my chores, and I'd do my chores, do dishes here, take out the trash. But I look back at it now, and I do realize that my sister did a whole lot more, or she went the extra mile, and it was because she was the woman of the house, and she was, being trained, I guess you can say, to be that way, so that when she gets older, she can provide and, be the woman of the house and cook and clean. And it's weird, like,
Because in some sort of way, it's just how we're going to be representing our parents when we're older, like when we're, mothers and wives, like, oh, and it comes down to when your husband gets home and you don't know how to cook, the husband's going to look at you like, your mom didn't teach you that, or what did your mom teach you if you don't know how to. It's crazy how it would be in. It has nothing to do with how your mom raised you. You could have just not wanted to learn, or you just don't want to be in that norm anymore. You want to be like, well, you could help me too. You could cook too. Like it, you know.
I feel, from personal experience, I feel like I am that way. Like I know how to cook. I'm very, very cleanly. Like I'm not dirty. So like I was really attached to my mom growing up. I was always in the kitchen with her. Like I love, being around her while she was cooking, kind of see like what she was mixing up. So I feel like being that way with her like taught me like a whole lot. Um, as far as that goes, how was it asking for like permission to go out? Because I know that's a good one, um, that everybody goes through and stuff.
That's a lot. A topic where a lot of girls can relate, especially Hispanic girls that I know. That it was, if you came from conservative parents, you had to sneak out. If they said no, no is no. But if you wanted to go out, you found a way. You got creative. And it sucked because if you had male siblings and it was so easy for them, you'd be so mad. You'd be like, what the, like, why can't I go out? But it all went back to, well, you're a woman and something can happen to you. And it was hard, and I didn't think it was fair. But now, obviously, through time, you kind of put yourself in their shoes, and like, if I'm a parent, am I gonna, you never know until you're in that position. But oh gosh, I felt like, I don't know, I say I'm not gonna be that way, but you never know.
Do you feel they did? Do you feel they were like that with you because they were being protective, or just flat out because you were a
Like
girl?
controlling.
Yeah.
I I don't know. Like, I feel my mom, for the most part, she wanted to let me go out, but it was the whole, well, if your dad said yes, then
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It had to go past my dad,
Yeah.
and that's usually the one that would say no. So I was like, I gotta get creative, and I would sneak out.
I've never had to sneak out ever.
Must be nice.
Yeah. No. Never.
For all the girls out there that had to sneak out, oh man, it sucked. And when you'd be checking your phone, be like, oh, did they notice it? Oh, that was the, you couldn't even be out comfortably, because you'd be like, oh
You're
no,
so
like,
on edge about.
yeah, you're like, they're gonna find out. Or if you had a sibling that would cover you, cool, you know. And I did, thankfully. Shout out to my brother. But oh my god, it was hard. It was rough.
Yeah. No. I've never had to experience that like sneaking out phase or like. There were times, there was times obviously where they would tell me no, and it was kind of like, oh, whatever. They told me no, but like, I was one of the ones where like I'd continue to ask, like I'd bug so much that they were just like, you know what, yeah, like just go, like I was one of those. I was a bugger to go out, but yeah, it was the whole, oh, ask your dad, or oh, go ask your mom, and sometimes it was back and forth, and it was super annoying. Like, oh, go ask your dad. Oh, my dad said yes. Oh, well, I say no, and it was just so like, bro,
Yeah,
like
the
come
back and
on, like,
forth, like
why
whatever
can't you
your
guys
dad
just,
says, whatever your
yeah,
mom says. And then also, the going out multiple times a week was not a thing. Like, you had to get everything out of your system that one time that you asked, and if they said yes, oh my god. But you had, if something came up, if your friends wanted to go out again, oh no.
really,
No. Mm-mm.
no,
I mean, I'm not going to say for every, Hispanic or any other ethnicity. I'm not going to speak for them, but yeah. For the most part, I have talked to some girlfriends, and they're like, yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard going out.
no, never, never. It's so crazy how different it is. It's wild. What about like the birds and the bees? Like, was that conversation ever had? Like, did you guys ever?
I think my mom talked to me about it just because she felt like it was that time that I was in high school. I mean, I was not because I looked like I was gonna, but she just wanted to cover that for me, and she just wanted to make sure, if it came down to it, I was making smart decisions, I guess, and just to make sure that okay, I talked to her about it. She just to kind of make sure that I was open to talking to her about it.
Yeah.
That way, she didn't want me to be scared of her. So
Yeah.
it was just that type of conversation,
Oh, that
but
makes
nothing
sense.
crazy,
Yeah.
not in detail.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I feel like for myself, I never had that conversation at all, like in general, like at all. I felt like my parents thought it was more of like, oh, well, he's just gonna learn that in school kind of thing. But it never came down to, okay, come here, son, or vente acá, mijo, like we're gonna talk about sex, and but no, it never went down that way. No, I think my dad found out that like I was having sex, but I wasn't. My brother had given me a condom at the time, and it was in my wallet.
Oh,
I was at a young age.
so
I
he
think
assumed.
yeah, so he assumed I had it in my wallet. I was looking for my wallet one time, and he was helping me look for my wallet, and he found it. And when he was handing me the wallet, he kind of gave me like a
He went like this.
yeah, he kind of gave me like a head nod kind of thing when he was handing it to me, and I'm like, okay,
That's my
yeah,
boy.
yeah, I'm like, thanks, Dad, for my wallet. And I opened it, and I remembered that I had the condom in there, and I was like, that's why he gave me that head nod. And you would have thought like, oh, that's gonna be the conversation starter, like that's how he's gonna bring it up, but no, it was just kind of like oh, okay, cool, like he's protecting himself, like, oh, I did my job kind of thing, you get me? But yeah, no, we never had that conversation, and not even with my mom either. I think no, not at all. But yeah, that's kind of how it was.
It was probably for them at the time. I was like, out of sight, out of mind. I don't talk about it. They don't have any questions about
Oh
it.
yeah, probably yeah.
Yeah.
What was it tough like growing up with like two brothers? Like how was that?
I mean, it wasn't tough. It was pretty easy because I didn't have to share any like of my toys, obviously, because I had girly things. I never had to share my clothes. Now it's the time that I want to like have their clothes and stuff like that. But growing up with them, I mean, we would fight, but just like sibling fights, little fights.
Yeah. How was the whole like because you brought up like toys and stuff, like how was it with like you wanted to play with like guy things? Like did your mom or dad ever like tell you, "Oh no, that's for guys," or like
No, my parents never. No, we at an early age, like they bought us like bikes and they taught us how to, just ride bikes and put us in sports. And my brother was in hockey. My mom put me in hockey as well. It wasn't like, oh, well, your brother's doing this, so you have to do like cheerleading or something. No, she never like. It wasn't. She never not let me pursue something because of like that gender role. Like, oh, that's for boys. Like she never.
no? Your
No,
dad either, no?
no. No, I mean it was pretty cool that she gave me the opportunity to like pursue anything that I wanted without telling me like, well, that's for boys, because usually moms want to see their girls be cheerleaders and
Girly
yeah,
and yeah.
or ballet or something like that, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, I wanted to play hockey, I want to, and I was in hockey with like one of my guy cousins, and it was fun. I was happy that my mom put me in.
Yeah, same thing here. Well, kind of sort of. It was I would grow up and I was exposed to like like piercings and like painting nails because of my sister, obviously. So I used to think like, oh, like I want to get my ears pierced or like things like that. My dad was like, no, like that's not for men, and you're a guy and guys don't do that. And I always thought that was weird. Like, what do you mean? Like, why can't I get my ears pierced? Like,
Yeah.
how is that like for girls only? That never made sense to me growing up. And I think about it now. I'm like, why were they like that? Like, why
It's
is
just
that
like
such
the
a
culture that it's either you're gay or just it's pretty sad how it's kind of closed-minded, because it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're gay if your nails are painted, you have earrings, you wear, you know, skirts, dresses, because times are they're different now,
yeah,
and obviously what they had experienced beforehand and how they were raised, it was to think that way, and everybody has their own way of thinking. But now with celebrities breaking those norms, those gender norms, and how you have Bad Bunny painting his nails,
yeah? That was a whole thing. Yeah, when
and how
he
the
like painted
younger
his
audience is
yeah.
kind of like not following him, but it's just like, yeah, he's right, like that's not just for girls, like I could do it too. And I have seen so many guys with their nails painted, ears pierced, hair dyed, you know and it's just like, yeah, just break the norms already. It's 2021.
Yeah. I always think about how I'm gonna be like when I have kids, like am I gonna be that like with my kids like the way
Mm-hmm.
like my parents were, like, oh, you can't play with that. And I say now that I don't want to be that way. Like I'm gonna, I guess, say let my kid do what he wants for the most part, like let him play with the toys he wants to, like put him in the sports he wants to do, or put her in the sports that she wants to do. But like we never know because we're not, I
Mm-hmm.
don't have
We'll
kids.
we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, we'll see when we get there. We want to hear from you guys too. I know there's a few listeners and viewers that have kids and things like that. So let us know what you guys think. Like, how were you guys raised, or how are you guys gonna raise your kids? Like, we want to know. Like, we want to get to know you guys as well too. So, in the comment sections and some DMs, let us know.
Now with dating, how was that? Like, was it like you could date at an early age, not early age, but it wasn't like, oh, you could only date until you're.
When it came to dating and like my family, well, personally for myself, I never really experienced like, oh, you can't date, or oh, like girls, or like I said, because I never had that birds and bees talk. So like I was kind of like, I learned more from like my brother when it came to that, if that makes sense. But like I said, I never really dated like that until like high school. I mean, obviously, I have like little crushes here and there in like middle school, and like, but they never really asked me like, oh, like, te gusta esta, niña, or like, do you like this girl? Like, I was never asked, or like,
It was never brought up.
it was just never brought up. Yeah, like I said, it was kind of more of like a, oh, talk to your brother or learn from your brother kind of thing. I never really had any issues with like dating and like all that stuff. And like I said, I
Mm-hmm.
never really dated like that anyway. So like,
Yeah.
but about for you, how was it? How was it for you?
It was kind of like the traditional, like, oh, they didn't want me dating until I was, a little bit older, and they didn't. I had to do things like the right way, as in like bring the guy to meet my dad and get permission from my dad. Anytime I wanted to go out with like my boyfriend, I had to, ask for permission, and it was, just pretty standard stuff that
Hmm.
the basic, traditional, old-fashioned mindset that my
Yeah.
parents had. And yeah, and then it came to, what if I wanted to move in with him and
Hmm.
we weren't married? It was,
Mm.
and it was like, something was either you were pregnant or you just wanted to be a rebel, because you don't do that.
Hmm.
In our culture, you don't do that unless you're married.
Hmm.
You don't like take the next step of moving in with your partner unless you're married or you're
Yeah,
pregnant.
you're pregnant or married. Like there's no way you're leaving this house unless you're like pregnant or married. Yeah.
But I feel like we pursue it in a sense like, well, I want to get to know this person in that type of level, that intimate level, when it's like living with them, seeing them every day
Yeah.
is different than when obviously we're dating. It's like, not that we have like this, that we front, but that
It's
we're
different.
just,
No,
yeah,
yeah.
it's different
It's
because
different. Yeah.
it's easy to just like, oh, we hang out for a couple hours and then you just get dropped off, and then how is this person in an everyday basis?
Yeah, like how we live at home, and like just like little habits that we have that you don't see until you live with said person. And that's basically how it was for me too. When obviously I moved out of like my parents' house, we had conversations on like why, but it was never like, oh, like is she pregnant or this and that. Like it was never anything like that. I think it was more of kind of like a, oh, he's growing up kind of thing. 'Cause like I said, I'm the youngest. Yeah, so it was like a, oh damn, like we've not lost, but like my older sister moved out, and then it kind of jumped, and then the youngest, I moved out, and it was like, oh damn, like we were left with one, and then what about when that one leaves? Then what? You get me? But I still try to stay in contact with my parents as much as I can, But yeah, it wasn't really like that growing up. Like I said, it was probably for my sister maybe, but being the guy, I never really had like that conversation, like, oh, you can't move out unless you're pregnant or. But yeah, I never had that conversation. What about? Was it like that? Like when you had that conversation about like marriage, is that the same thing or like how was?
So like, when going a little bit back to like when you're dating, it kind of was like, we don't want you bringing in multiple. Bring the person that you think is going to be not like the one, but you are more stable with, and you believe that that's the person you want to be with. And bringing in multiple people was like out of the question. Just for me too, like my family, it means a lot to me, and it's like a sacred thing. Like, to introduce somebody to my family means a lot. Like, I don't want to introduce just any person, because I feel like that's just another level of like, kind of like,
Yeah.
you know
I feel like it's like that with anybody, like how anybody was raised. Like you're bringing home this person into your family, and they're gonna meet your mom, your dad. Like that's sacred. Like that's special. Like you can't. I don't know. It's weird just continuing to bring like different people. Like that doesn't.
And there's some families that are, they don't mind it, they're open to it. I mean, to each their own, I guess. But I
Yeah.
feel like for us
Yeah.
Hispanic households, they're like, oh, no, 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 there's none of that.
Yeah.
But for marriage, it's the guy. For our culture, I think it's like kind of, we have the similar. It's the guy has to ask for permission from the dad.
Yeah.
From the
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
Like, do they have the blessing?
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. Like, if you don't do that, it's kind of like disrespectful.
Yeah.
To not go and ask for the
Yeah.
daughter's hand. It's kind of like,
Yeah. It's crazy too, cause like I'm not aware of like how other cultures do it, but like it's weird not asking permission. Like obviously you're grown, people are like 30, 40, and like, oh, why do I have to ask her permission?
it's
Like,
not so much permission. I think it's like that blessing.
no, yeah, exactly. It's more of like a respect, a blessing. Like, I'm handing off my daughter to you. Like, I want you to take care of her. Like, things like that, family. So I mean, obviously I would do that as well too, and I feel like not doing that is just like weird. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you?
Just how like we were taught, but there's other people that they they don't see a purpose in it, or they don't feel like the need to have a blessing. If their relationship works like that, then
I'm curious to know, guys. Like, let us know how you guys, feel about that,
hmm
current situation. Like, how, like, are you gonna go ask the dad? Like, if you're a guy, like, are you gonna go ask the dad, or are you more of like like she's grown, she can do whatever she wants. Like, why do I have
hmm
to go ask him? Like, I'm
yeah,
curious to know, like,
yeah,
how you guys do it, or how have you guys done it? Like,
yeah.
because I know a few people that have, been married and stuff like that, and that's a good one. I'm curious to know
Yeah.
how kind of that went.
Because since times are changing and traditions are being broken, I'm curious to know too, like if you are open or willing to keep on that tradition of getting that blessing, and if it means anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To touch a little bit on that, how do you, well, like, when it comes to the marriage, like, do you want to keep that like super like close and personal, or like are you more of like, oh, I want to
Oh, like
have
a
like,
big
yeah,
party.
like you want to,
I don't know, I say I want like a small wedding, but then I'm just like, no, like I want a big wedding. Like I want banda, I want all that. I don't know why. I just
I
You
feel
only
like,
get married once. Well, for me, I only want to get married
oh,
once.
well,
So.
yeah, obviously. I just feel like I don't know enough people like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't,
Like who am I gonna invite?
yeah, like,
Well, that just makes the wedding less expensive.
that's true too.
you know.
Yeah, I don't think I want to
Mm-hmm.
have like, I feel like for myself, I'd like to have something.
You have hella friends. You don't gotta. Yeah, you
I,
don't
I
know a
mean,
lot
I
of
do.
people.
I mean, that's true. Yeah. I don't know. I would
Yeah.
still like to have something just small and personal. A little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, that really kind of just wraps up this episode here.
We covered a lot
Yeah, we
for the
touched
most
base on a
part.
lot. And like I said, we're curious to know how you guys were raised and
Mm-hmm.
what kind of cultures,
The beliefs.
beliefs and stuff like that were brought on you guys. Like, we're curious to know. So, but don't be afraid to leave a comment, hit us in the DMs, ask us questions. If you guys want to get to know us more, again, like I said, ask us questions in the DMs, things like that. We'll be more than happy to, share some information for you,
Mm-hmm.
keep it a little personal, but
Mm-hmm.
anything you guys want to know, just, hit us up. We'll be more than happy to share that with you. Was there anything else you wanted to share with
Just
them, or?
trying to, cover the platforms again. So we're on Apple Podcasts,
Yes, Apple Podcasts,
Spotify,
Spotify,
YouTube,
YouTube,
Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah, I got those all running, guys. So
Yeah.
again, we appreciate the tremendous support that we have been receiving from everybody. And, you know, let us know what you guys prefer. Do you guys
Yeah.
prefer more
We want,
audio?
yeah.
Are you guys more visual? Do
Mm-hmm.
you guys like longer podcasts? Do you like shorter podcasts? We want to hear from you guys, so that way we give you guys what you want.
Yeah.
We're here for you guys and stuff like that. So let us hear, give us all the feedbacks you guys have. Like I said, we've made changes to this second episode from the feedback that we got from the first one. So hopefully that was all fixed and taken care of. But yeah, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, all in the same shebang.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that pretty much wraps this one up.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
Episode 2. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap, guys. Catch you guys later and see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Deuces.